Sooner.
Upended balls loose, laying around, picked up on the run. Cannon, he's to the 10, he's to the 5, touchdown!
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Welcome to the OU Huddle on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Also brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Now, here's the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
What is going on, Sooner Nation? I'm not Toby Rowland. Toby Rowland is getting a much-deserved night off from this show. I am your host, Gabe Eichert, and this is the Huddle from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, presented by Air Comfort Solutions. And one of the reasons I love this show is we get to focus on the amazing athletes and the amazing coaches at the University of Oklahoma. And I'm pleased to be joined by OU women's soccer head coach Matt Mott. Coach, how we doing?
I'm great, Gabe. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for having us.
I have no complaints after watching what Jenny Baranczyk and the Sooners did to Iowa today.
That was awesome. Our whole team went. It was.
Oh, you guys all went?
Yeah, we had practice, and I said, "Listen, we're not lifting today. We're going over to support women's basketball," and it was awesome, and they were on fire.
That was a dominant performance by the Sooners today. But we're here to talk about soccer, and I've been informed. She's not the goalie. She's the goalkeeper.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Caroline Duffy, ladies and gentlemen. And, Caroline, I've always been told that goalkeepers have to be – the word I've heard is crazy. But what makes goalkeepers different? Because I've always heard that it takes a certain individual to play the position.
I think what makes us different is that you just have to be willing to put everything on the line for your team, which everyone does. But you're in situations where you have to go through a crowd, fly through a crowd, and do anything to make a save. And also you have to be a leader in the back, and you have to put yourself out there and communicate with your teammates. So you got to be loud, and you got to be crazy.
So you do have to be crazy. That's good to know. Now, you mentioned before we started that you're from Maryland.
Yes.
How'd you end up in Norman?
So I transferred here from Duke. I was looking to play at a very competitive program, and I talked to Matt, and I really loved what this program stood for, and that we were going to be fighting for our position in the SEC and just working to build a whole program towards women's soccer.
She mentioned the SEC, Coach. I know it's going to be year one in the conference. Just how big of a change is that for your program?
Yeah, it's been tough, right? It's a tough league. Every single game is tough, and I think the biggest thing for me is the athleticism. I think we're seeing it in every sport, certainly, and it's true in soccer as well, that the athleticism is really, really high, and you got to have great athletes, and Caroline's come in and really established herself as one of the best goalkeepers in the league and doing a great job for us, and I think she's got a great senior year coming. We're excited about it, and she's definitely a leader on the team for us for sure.
What has the process been like for you, Caroline, coming into a new program, getting to know all these new faces, all these new teammates? Like, has that been easy for you, or is it, taking a little work?
It's definitely taken work, but the environment that I came into is a very family-focused team. And so all the girls that were here already were so kind and really made the effort to make me feel like I was a part of a team. And I think that definitely translated onto the field, where I was able to just get comfortable and figure people out and how they play.
Coach, you have a challenging job when it comes to putting a bunch of new pieces together this season. Caroline's one of them. What has that process been like for you? A bunch of new freshmen, a bunch of new transfers. Yeah. Obviously, the SEC was a big draw for a lot of those transfers.
Sure.
But I can't imagine it's easy putting all those new pieces together.
Yeah, I mean, you look at our makeup of our roster, we have 11 guys that returned, right, from last year. We have, right now here in campus, we have 6 freshmen that graduated early, and then we have 7 transfers. So it's really kind of a whole new team. Almost 2/3 of the team is new. So getting them together, working a lot on our culture. We spend a lot of time on the culture, but also figuring out who's playing in the right spots. And again, I think we talked about athleticism. We've increased that. But I also think we've really brought in players that want to compete at the highest level, and the SEC certainly provides that for us. And it's been fun. It's been a fun spring for us, and we're certainly driving towards the fall, just like football, and wanting to have a good year 2 in the league, and excited about what the future holds. But this team's working really hard in the spring and doing a really good job of getting ready for what's going to be a challenging fall.
You mentioned the culture, the chemistry. Caroline, what has that experience been like for you, getting to know your teammates and just trying to develop that bond that, great teams have?
Yeah, I think we've had to focus on it a lot, specifically this spring, just because more than half of our team is new. So we work often on what we want our team to be, how we envision this next fall going. And I think that it really helps us to be able to connect on the field and understand what our goal is. And so our culture has been really important, and we're still developing that throughout the spring and throughout the summer. And hopefully when we lead into the fall, we'll know exactly where we're supposed to be.
Soccer's an interesting sport to me because you have that spring piece, and then, like you mentioned, Coach, you're working towards the fall.
Sure.
But you're playing some matches. You're trying to build that chemistry. What are your main goals this time of the year? Like, what are you trying to develop in your players?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we're lucky in spring. We get 5 days to play as many games as we want. So we've played TCU. We have North Texas coming up. We play Baylor actually this Sunday up in Frisco, and then we end up at SMU. So it gives us some opportunities to play against other opponents, which is great. I actually talked to Coach Venables about it. He wished they got to play somebody else, right? But we do get to play in 5 different days, and that's really helpful for us to really get it. But we're focused a lot on our system, the type of system we want to play in the fall, and really making sure we know who we want to play where, and different styles that we want to play, and really the style that we want to play at Oklahoma. And we're a pressing, hardworking, kind of up-in-your-face type of team, and we're certainly working a lot on that in the spring.
This opening segment is brought to you by Community Coffee, family-owned Community Coffee, the official brewed coffee of OU Athletics. Taste the difference family makes. How would you describe your style? He's talking about the style that you guys want to play. You called yourself crazy, not me. That was you. But how have you developed your style since you've been here? Are you more of a vocal goalkeeper? Is it just, hey, I just do my thing, I stay a little quiet? I'm just guessing you're vocal by the way that you described yourself earlier.
Yes, I definitely try to be a vocal leader. I think that is one of the most important things that I can do to help my backs to understand where they have to be, where the other team is. And we want to play quick. So as soon as I get the ball, I'm looking to play it to out wide. People are running, especially Alexis, who you're going to talk to next. But she's my outlet pass.
I've heard she can go.
Yep, she'll run for me. So we're really looking to get the ball forward and keep going.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that the SEC was a piece of your decision to transfer to Oklahoma. How excited are you to play in that conference?
Yeah, well, this past season was great. It was great to get to kind of figure out the SEC and just be able to play in that environment and kind of understand what I was going with. So now I just feel like this next season is just we know what we're going to deal with, and we're just going to be able to take it to the next level and continue to find success.
Where do you think you can it's spring. Is spring one of the times of the year where you are really focusing on certain areas of your game, trying to get ready for the fall? Like, do you pick a couple of things or like points of emphasis, or is it overall development this time of year?
I think it's both. It's overall development, but at the same time, I can reflect back on the past season and look at what I want to improve, and that in this time we have a lot more chances to work specifically with Warren, my goalkeeper coach. I can work with him individually on things that I really want to focus on improving versus in the fall, it's all about competition. So you're just trying to maintain where you're at and continue to play at your best. Here you can kind of push yourself to try new things and just continue to improve.
Is there a rhyme or reason, Coach, to the opponents you pick in the spring?
Yeah, a little bit. Like TCU.
You mentioned you like playing other people. That's obvious.
Yeah, and we want the best competition we can have, right? We want to be able to challenge because the games don't count. At the end of the spring, we'll still be 0-0 going into the fall, right? So to us, it's more about playing the best teams we can. We're lucky in the area that we are. We have good teams around us, and we have good, quality opponents. And I think TCU's great, SMU's great. We play Oral Roberts. We play a lot of the local teams, and that really helps prepare us for sure. But it's been good. The spring's been good so far, and we want to kind of finish strong. We have 3 dates left for us to play, and we want to certainly end spring on a positive note.
I told you it'd be painless, right?
Wasn't so bad. Wasn't so bad.
It wasn't that bad. More with Coach Mott, and Alexis Washington will join us next. Keep it right here. You're watching The Huddle.
The Huddle is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The Trails Golf Club of Norman, where you'll experience everything you love about golf and more.
Welcome back to The Huddle from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. We are presented by Air Comfort Solutions, and this second segment is sponsored by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Star forward Alexis Washington.
Absolutely.
So they sent me some notes. That's how she was described. Is this true, Alexis? Star forward?
I don't know about all that, but
That's what I'm told. I guess he's the guy to ask.
Yes, I agree. That's what I would call her. Kind of a wide midfielder forward, maybe, Lex, right? And she has to do some defending. So she's not like a lot of these forwards just stand up front and score goals. Lex does it all.
It's versatility.
It's
the more
absolutely
you
right.
Do.
That's right.
So you played your first SEC season in the fall, preparing now, getting ready in spring. How is spring going for you so far, Alexis?
I think spring has been going well. I think everyone with the team coming together, I know there's a lot of new players, but I think everyone's gelling together pretty well, and I think we'll be ready for the next season.
You've been around now.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned all the new faces. What has it been like getting to know all the new freshmen, all the new transfers? Is that something that's easy for you, comes natural for you? What's that process been like?
Hasn't always been natural for me. I've been learning to step up into a more leadership role this season, and I think I'm growing into it for sure, but it's been exciting overall. Just learning everybody, learning like what makes them them, and like how we can all come together.
Coach, how she mentioned that maybe that piece doesn't come naturally. How do you handle that when one of your best players, she's got the leadership qualities? How do you go about kind of pulling some of that out of your players?
Yeah, we're making her. No. She's part of our leadership council, right? She's definitely a leader on our team. And Alexis does everything right? She works hard, shows up all the time, does extra. One of the hardest workers we've had on the team, one of the hardest workers I've coached. So she has all that, and we keep talking to her, okay, you're going to be a senior now. Now it can't be in our little shell out there on the right side. You got to come out of your shell. You got to be a little more demanding of your teammates and those things. And she's doing a great job. Right? She's a leader by example, is the epitome of it. And it's something that's really important to our team. And the players look up to her for sure. Certainly the new guys and the returner or the transfers definitely look up to her. As the player that she is. She shows it every single day at practice.
Well, he said it. He said it. Now, Coach, you mentioned the leadership council. I'm interested in learning a little more about that. How do you establish that group, and kind of what's their role as the council for your team?
Yeah, so it's a leadership position, right? So they'll do everything from, help us pick places to eat on the road, right? We want to eat if we're going out. We're on the road for a while.
That may be the most important thing.
That's right. Absolutely.
Those are big time decisions.
Yes.
We want to come to Rudy's anytime we can. No, but no, simple as that, all the way into maybe disciplinary questions or anything like that. Anything that comes up within the team that we as a coaching staff want to get the players' opinions on. We have, leadership council. Caroline's on it as well, and Cassie Clifton, and we have a really good group right now that I think really care about the team and helping us, create the culture and the chemistry, and we lean on them a lot for a lot of what we do.
As one of the senior leaders, the program the last couple seasons, little better.
Yeah.
Little better. You can see the improvement. Like how encouraging is that for you, Alexis, to see this program on the rise?
It's just, honestly, it's everything. Like, it encourages me to keep trying, keep working harder, because, like, I want to continue to strive to grow this program. And I know that if I continue to strive, other people will continue to strive, and the energy will just be contagious, and it will continue to grow.
So I'm assuming scoring goals is what you want to do. I think that's fair to say about any soccer player. But this spring, as you work on your game, you try to get ready for the fall. Do you have any personal goals this time of year?
This time of year for myself?
Yeah, for your
or
team goals, personal goals.
For the team, obviously, is to come together and just become a solid unit because of so many new people. But for me, I would say just continuing to get better with my shots and my crosses and continue to create opportunities for the team.
How do you – this is going to be a stupid question. I don't know a ton about soccer, but how do you work on those things? Is that you have to have people out there with you? Can you work on all of that stuff individually as well, or is it more of you've got to be in a team setting to really get all that stuff dialed in?
I think it depends on what you're trying to do, but a lot of the things that you want to do and you want to work on, you can do it by yourself, I feel like. It's just putting in the time, putting in the effort, just making time, I guess.
You are very dedicated if you're out there just working on crosses by yourself.
Yeah, and she's one that does that, right? And again, we do some individual work with the coaches. I've got a great staff, and they do a great job with these guys. And she was out there today, actually, before practice, hitting crosses and hitting shots. And
looking like a crazy person.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing a great job for sure.
So when you're getting that type of dedication, her working on her game the way that she is that something that clearly the other players, the new players especially, see that and go, okay, this is what the standard is at Oklahoma?
Absolutely, and I think that is the standard, right? We want to continue to work. Spring for us is a lot about development, right? We want to make them better. We're in the weight room a lot. We're doing all those things to make them each individually better, but we do have the collective team in mind as well, right? We talked about style and that kind of stuff. But right now, it's about them getting better individually, and Lex's come back from winter time, and she's just getting better and better every day, and it's a really important piece to what we're going to do. So
I'm interested in what the most miserable point in the calendar is for soccer players, because for me, I was a football guy. It was always winter. Winter was like the season was so far away, and you were just getting killed in the weight room and doing all that stuff. Like, what's the worst part of soccer season? Because you play in the spring, you play in the fall, so you're getting to play a lot. Is it summer? Summer seems like it would be terrible.
I think it's not exactly like a point. I guess summer is hard because you're a lot of conditioning, and we do it in the spring too. But I think like the worst is like preparing for the beep test and actually taking the beep test. I will say that.
That's our fitness test.
I will say that.
I think I know what that means. Don't you run and then it beeps and you have to turn around and run the other way?
Yeah, pretty much. You run out 20 meters, come back. It beeps halfway to tell you where halfway is. You got to come back. So it's 40 meters. But you're running 40 meters and you got to make the beep, and the beeps get closer. So they get quicker. So you got to it's so funny though. Like Lex never failed the beep test, never will fail it, but she kills it. But they all stress about it, right? So it's just so funny that the big time athletes, they're not going to not pass it, but they stress about it. So
I never plan on doing that. That sounds awful. Good for you, though. No. Good for you guys. All right, let's take a look at your upcoming schedule. And this is presented by Trails Golf of Norman. At the Trails Golf Club in Norman, you'll experience everything you love about golf and more. What do you think, Coach? At Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor. We play them actually in a neutral site up in Frisco at FC Dallas,
nice.
Which will be great for us.
Awesome stadium. I called a bowl game there one time.
Oh yeah, very cool. And then we play home against North Texas, and then obviously at SMU. So we're three really good teams to play against, and their styles are different than ours. So we gotta be ready to go. But certainly excited about Sunday with Baylor. It's always a good match. We played them a couple times now in exhibition and in the spring, and it's always a really good contest for us.
With these spring matches, is it more about you and your players and what you guys are trying to execute, or do you do a ton of scouting, a ton of game planning?
No, totally about us.
Okay.
All about us. We script it out. We make it very specific, and we spend our time really just focused on us, right? Because again, like they don't count. If they mattered, we'd spend a lot of time on them, right? But we spend all our time on us and doing the things we want to do and see how we're progressing.
Alexis, do the spring matches feel different than the ones in the fall? Or do you and your teammates still feel like the same intensity of, hey, you're going out and you're playing an opponent?
I think we still feel the same intensity. It doesn't matter that it's technically a scrimmage, but it doesn't feel like it. You're still competing against another school. You still want to win. You still want to prove yourself. So I say it's about the same.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Now, Coach, when do you experiment with more lineup changes, try some different things? I have to assume the spring is a time for you to kind of tinker with the lineups.
Absolutely. Now, Alexis is going to stay on the right. I told her one time, you play
at
almost.
Least you know where you're at. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, but for most of the players, we do. Absolutely. Change people, change lineups, change systems, just really get a look. And it's a great opportunity for us to see what we can and maybe what we can't do. So we absolutely do that for sure.
Now, last question for you, Coach.
Yeah.
Your overall goals for this team for the spring, do you define it in just a couple of bullet points, or is it, hey, just improvement every single day?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like we certainly have. We're going out in every game, and like I tell them, when they're on the field, they're doing everything to help us win the game, right? For us as coaches, it might be a little different, right? We're looking at people at different positions. We're doing things a little bit differently, but we want to win every time we step out there for sure. But we're not gauging that or making that as goals. Our goals are to come together as a team. Culture is important, chemistry is important, and us first to really know what we have going into the summer and getting ready certainly for the fall.
Coach Matt Mott, Alexis Washington, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yes.
We're talking some OU rowing next. Keep it right here. It's the Huddle from Rudy's.
Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com.
Welcome back to the Huddle at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. We are presented by Air Comfort Solutions. And now it's time to talk about the people that live in the pain cave. I love rowing. I never do it. I will never do it, but I love the sport. Coach, how we doing?
Not too bad. You know, you would have been a good recruit for rowing.
I was told that once. I don't know if you've ever been to the Red Bud Classic. This is going to be a random story. But I randomly did one of those little rowing ergs, and a guy was like, hey, man, what do you think? I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You got to get up way too early. You train
Yeah.
when
Every
it's super
muscle.
cold. It just seems, I mean, Elena could tell us it can't be that fun.
You find the fun. in
Elena
the
Ronning,
pain
by the
cave.
way,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
We say we like to decorate our pain cave, make it a little special to us.
So now, Coach, excited to talk about the spring and what you guys have ahead, but want to rewind to the fall a little bit. A successful fall, what stood out to you? What made it such a successful fall for the program?
I would say the approach the athletes brought when they hit the water this fall racing, it was with a mission. They came out blazing. They wanted to go win ahead of the Oklahoma, which we haven't won in a number of years. And every boat got on that water just aiming to bring down Bama, schools like Wisconsin, and make sure that that trophy was once again ours. So that just started it off. And then we've gotten, in the fall, which is not even our main sport, we got to beat schools like Duke, amongst others, Clemson, places that had beaten us before or were ranked ahead of us. And I think that it was just the athletes' approach that this is our time. We've trained hard. We've been recruiting. We've been spreading the good word of what we want to do here on the team. And, looking for really competitive people like Elena. And it was our time.
Elena, you're from St. Louis. So I'm interested, how did you end up rowing for Coach Trowbridge? Like, what was your path to becoming a Sooner?
It wasn't like completely linear. I'm a junior, but I got here last year, and I started talking to Tro when she was coaching the U23 national team, and talking about like what she was doing with that team and her approach to rowing. And she was fairly new to taking on the squad here at Oklahoma, and I was really interested in just like the path to success and the commitment and how she was able to get the entire team on board and kind of just like her rowing philosophy. And I wasn't even thinking that Oklahoma was like a place that I necessarily like geographically wanted to be, but I was like, this is a place that I want to row, and I think she's building something really special, and I was like, I want to be a part of that climb.
You mentioned coaching the under-23 national team. Also an Olympian. So was that something where you went, okay, she absolutely, Coach Trowbridge knows what it takes to be great. Was that a big part of your decision to come here?
Yeah, absolutely. And she even tells us like stories that she has of when she was so deep in the pain cave, and like we love those. We love hearing about those. We love hearing the little like bits of what she went through, and it's like it's very relatable and it's comforting to hear, and it's something that I think like really pushes us too, because she experiences some of the same things that we did even on like the Olympic level. And so being able to know that she has that experience and she's not asking us to do anything that she hasn't done and done like tenfold and at a much greater level, that's something like super cool to be a part of.
You ever get out on the water still and let them know? Come on, I know, every once in a while, just to remind them, right?
They were banging out some pull-ups, and a few of us coaches were like, can we still do those? And so I had to get up there and try that. But Elena, we might be in different spots in terms of our experience at this point or in where we are in our career, but I think it's finding someone and finding all of our athletes that really speak the same language, which is just that intense competitiveness with respect of our opponents. Elena's an awesome teammate, and she understands that we're really good teammates, and the way you can be the best teammate is to give it all you got and race your teammate the best you can, not let them get away with anything. And that's the way to really be a good competitor and a good teammate. And so we look for people like that, and that's going to spread. And so even if we're at different places, like I feel like Elena gets exactly what I'm talking about.
Elena, I have a feeling that I haven't seen the competitive side of you. The way that she's describing you and that kind of the conversation we had before we started, do you just have a bit of a switch that gets flipped once you hit the water?
It's definitely like something that I really like am able to tap into, and some of my teammates will say, oh, that's Alana coming out. And it's like
the alter ego, Alana. I like that.
Yeah, and sometimes I just like kind of love when it's just like a dog fight, and like even when it like comes down the line, like that feeling of like knowing that you gave everything, that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't get to experience every day, but we have so many opportunities to do it here. So it's something I'm really grateful for.
Caroline Duffy was up here earlier, goalkeeper for the soccer team. She called herself crazy, and it's kind of how you're describing yourself as well. Like, this is fantastic for me. Yeah, this is awesome. Now, Coach, what are the main goals this time of year for you and the athletes? Like, what are your big emphases in the spring?
Yeah, so we're right in the transition point where we are. We've just had our first unofficial racing, and we're heading into our first official season race. And we've had all winter to train, and we train a lot in rowing. So even though it's a slow 6-minute race, we train often a couple marathons a week worth of rowing, even in a day. So we put in a lot of meters because in rowing, it's one of the few sports where you have to have a huge engine in terms of endurance, but you also have to have a lot of power to get that boat off. That boat's really heavy. All the athletes in it make it heavy, and so you have to have a lot of strength and power, and you got to have a lot of endurance. So they have trained all winter long, and now we are taking that training and hitting the next gears for racing, as well as preparing them mentally to tackle that 6-minute race.
That's awesome. This segment was brought to you by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. More OU rowing. Keep it right here. You're watching The Huddle.
The Huddle is brought to you by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today.
Welcome back to The Huddle here at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This segment is brought to you by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. All right, I'm going to try it. Pelexic.
Okay, that was pretty close. I'm proud of you.
I will take pretty close.
Yeah.
Andrea's in the house. We'll go with
Andrea.
Andrea. Coach, this is kind of for both of you. Serbia to Norman, Oklahoma is not exactly a natural path. Tell me how you end up rowing at the University of Oklahoma, Andrea.
So there's this thing called recruiting process, and when I just started
I've
with
heard
it,
of that.
yeah, I didn't hear about this until the last minute, and then I was like, so what do I do? How does this work? And then so it's not that complicated. Basically, you just talk to the coaches from other universities, and then you learn a lot of stuff about different universities. And when I started talking and getting in touch with the coaches from OU, Oklahoma University, I just liked everything I heard, and I was like, I think this is the right fit for me, and I think I did the right choice. Yeah, I don't regret it at all. Yeah.
What was that process like, Coach? I assume you remember the details of recruiting Andrea.
Yes. And even though that process started before I came here. And
Okay.
You would be surprised that we actually do have a pretty solid relationship with rowers in Serbia. And we've had rowers before. But Serbians have a very strong history and rowing culture. So they are very strong and, historical history of rowing. I know historical history, but they row. There's a few predominant clubs, and Andrea's from one, and we have a few other athletes from that club, and we've had ones from the surrounding areas. So we actually have this pipeline. And I remember talking with her, and she's just very to the point. She knows what she wants to do, and she's here on a mission. And she's, we are just so happy that she decided to come here.
Andrea, I saw a video of you talking about rowing. And I believe the quote was, "The feeling of being in the pain cave is really nice." You just recruit a bunch of psychos, don't you? Is that the first thing you ask? Like, you just have all these people that love being in physical pain.
I wish I had more.
That's just the sport, I guess.
It's special.
It is really hard to explain this, and I think that only people who are going through this can understand what I'm talking about, but I'll try to explain it to you. So basically, it is very painful. It is a horrible feeling. You would say no one wants to go through this, but at the end, when you do it, it's just so satisfying. And I just I can't even explain the feeling of satisfaction that you have after you win the race, you finish the race. There's nothing in you. Literally, you gave your last atom of power, and you just want to die. But you were like, oh, this feels so good, you know?
Yep.
And I think only people who went through this know what I'm talking about, and it's so weird to explain, but it's just at the same time so good.
That has to be so awesome to hear for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Well,
it's
you
like
know the
a
feeling.
few people, we're looking for those athletes that get it, and it's hard, like she said, it's hard to explain it, but in a way, we feel like we're lucky to go through it because you find a new level of your own ability every time you go there. And you can surprise yourself, and then you are strong for everything else that comes later in life.
So, as the head coach, when you're recruiting, how do you know the people that have that and the people that don't? Like,
Well, actually, out here we have both of our recruiting staff members, and that is something that they really hone, and they learn to ask questions to reveal that. Because when you're recruiting, people want to say the right thing. They want to say the thing you want to hear. And we try to be honest and tell all the amazing things we have here at Oklahoma, with also being honest that we are looking to be the best, and that means we have to find people that want to get take that next step. And so they're really good at what they do. When they come here, we have our athletes talk to them, and you find the ones that get a smile on their face when they hear something like that.
That's really interesting. Now, Andrea, she mentioned huge rowing culture in Serbia. So is rowing something you've done your entire life? Like, did you start as a little kid?
So I've been rowing for almost 7 years, 6.5. I started in 2018, but it was November, so the end of the year. Rowing is not that popular sport in Serbia. I mean, in America, it's a much bigger thing, so that was one of the main reasons why I came here, because I wanted to keep doing this. And just coming to the culture where everybody really appreciates and values the things you do and the work you put in, it just feels better. But yeah, I've been in this for a while now, and who knows for how much longer.
How different was it coming and living in Norman, Oklahoma? Like leaving home, and like what was that experience like for you?
I could talk about this for hours.
We've got time.
So I'm someone who's really close to my family, and of course I have a lot of friends. I have a boyfriend, and I have family in Serbia. So coming here, being separated from them is very hard. But I know what I want. When my coach said, like, I really know what my goal is, and rowing and school are both my priorities. So like, this is a big opportunity, and I'm very honored because not a lot of people from such a small country get the opportunity to do this. So I want to really use everything I can from that, because one day everything will be over and I'm going to miss it.
It's really interesting. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And clearly coaches as well. Now, the sport is growing a lot, Coach. It just feels like rowing's taken off. How encouraging is that for you, someone that's been, this has been your life?
Yeah. Well, it's the oldest intercollegiate sport in the U.S., and it's one of the oldest games, sports at the Olympic Games. But here in the U.S., it's really been exploding, in these last years and decades. And it's very exciting to see, because that's just pushing the pace of rowing globally. We're setting new world records. We are constantly finding a new frontier for the sport, expanding into things like beach sprints and different types of rowing events at the Olympics. And so it's really cool to see all these athletes pouring into it, into high school, and then taking it beyond.
Let's take a look at the future schedule presented by Trails Golf of Norman. Saturday's a big day.
Yep.
How exciting is it to go against two programs like Michigan and Ohio State?
Well, they have both been historically ranked. They've won multiple national championships, and they are just stalwart members of the top rowing community. And so this is a huge opportunity for us to be invited, to be able to go up against those crews. And most importantly, my husband went to Ohio State.
Oh, no.
So therefore,
You got to
we've
beat
gotta
them.
take them down. Yep.
Andre, I assume that for an opportunity like this is one of the reasons you come to OU.
Definitely. I mean, rowing is a sport that doesn't have as many opportunities to prove what you've been working for. So basically in other sports, you have a lot more like competitions and stuff. In rowing, we don't have as many during the season, so we try to use everything we have on each race. It doesn't have to be the most important race. We're going to give all we have and prove what we've been working hard for.
Well, good luck on Saturday, guys. Appreciate you coming and joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right,
Boomer.
we'll tie a bow on this thing. You're watching The Huddle at Rudy's.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Welcome back to The Huddle here at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Our final segment is brought to you by Didier Ranch. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better. One of my favorite slogans of any of the sponsors. Shout out to Jenny Baranchek and OU women's basketball. That was an absolute beatdown today against the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Sooners advance to the Sweet 16. Thank you for watching The Huddle. We'll be here at the same time, same place next week. Have a great night, Sooner Nation.
The OU Huddle has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.